It started with a phone call. An anonymous whistleblower called the New York State Commission on the Quality of Care for the Disabled with an alarming story. In January 1998, 24 men with severe mental illness were ferried in groups of 6 to the Parkway Hospital for 4 consecutive weeks, where a doctor performed unnecessary prostate surgery. The men all lived at the Lieben Home for Adults in Queens. They had no idea why they were going to the hospital, and none understood the release forms they had signed. Some were barely middle-aged. One was near 80. They arrived listless and disheveled, some so bewildered that they began to wander off before being stopped by nurses or guards. The scam generated tens of thousands of dollars in Medicaid and Medicare fees for the hospital and at least one doctor. The state fined the Lieben Home $5,000 for failing to properly supervise the men, and eventually forced the home's operator to resign. One doctor lost his license, and another had his temporarily suspended. In 2001, there was another phone call. The Commission on Quality of Care called MFY, the only legal services organization that was working in adult homes, to defend the rights of the residents and challenge abusive practices. The commission told Jeanette Zelhoff what happened. The rights of the 24 men who had been so brazenly used for profit needed to be vindicated. Would MFY help? Jeanette did not hesitate to say yes, and immediately Lisa Cleary at Patterson, Belknap, Webb, and Tyler, with whom she had worked on adult home cases before, agreed to co-counsel the case. MFY and Patterson represented the 17 men who agreed to sue and filed a lawsuit against the doctors, the hospital, and the Lieben Home. The case settled, with $7 million placed into a trust so the men could live in safe and supportive settings for the rest of their lives. Some of the men moved into a private assisted living facility in Forest Hills. 7 others moved into a private house in Queens, bought with settlement funds with 24-hour support provided by a caring nonprofit that Lisa and Jeanette continue to oversee. Many are still there today. The Times spent a year investigating adult homes throughout the city. Cliff Levy's 3-part series, Broken Homes, appeared in 2002, sending shockwaves across the state and earning Levy a Pulitzer Prize. The advocacy community mobilized and sued the state for violating the Americans with Disabilities Act. This case was even bigger than the Lieben Home case, and it needed a pro bono partner. Paul, Weiss, Rifkin, Wharton, and Garrison accepted the challenge.
The genesis of this lawsuit starts with how horrible and how completely isolated these adult homes were for its residents.
The adult homes have served as a dumping ground for people with mental illness coming out of psychiatric centers.
This lawsuit was all about choice and about giving adult home residents the choice to make on their own as to whether or not they wanted to continue to live in adult homes or whether they wanted to go out into the community and live in smaller settings, community-supported housing, where they would get services they need to enable them to live on their own. We had been working on this case for 8 years when we got a decision from the judge telling us that we were right, that this adult home regime violated the American with Disabilities Act.
At the very start of the fairness hearing, our named plaintiff, Alana Spiegel, walked up to the podium and read a poem she had written about life in her new home. And she was one of the first residents to move out into supported housing. And the poem was really good and really powerful.
My life, my home. I haven't written a poem since I moved to my new home. The rooms are precious and newly painted white. Embracing me, I can feel my might. I glide across the glowing golden wooden floors. I have 3 whole rooms, closets, a locked front door, to which I alone possess the key.
People who were so impacted by these adult homes, who aren't living, and you change their lives and their world, it's hard to put into words how that feels and how that changes you.
This place is my home, my haven, my shrine. It's special. Most of all, this place is mine.
The people now have a voice. The people that are in adult homes, they have a voice, they have a choice. They have a chance to live.
It's going to take a few years and a lot more effort from a lot of different people to make sure that the outcome is the best possible.
But we're going to stick with it and make sure that at the end of the day, these people get exactly what we signed up to get them.
There are thousands of adult home residents who are counting on MFY and its partners to ensure that the state holds up its end of the settlement. As the process moves forward, MFY will continue to defend residents when their rights are violated and challenge abusive practices in the homes. We will all be there for as long as it takes.